Hello everybody, it's J.Silver. We are here for our second episode on our free-to-play series. I wanted to talk about the simulated universe. So if you are like me, you've been playing this we got the game for a week now essentially, maybe a little bit less, and if you've no-lifed, you're at this 30 range somewhere and you're not sure what to do, I recommend you play Simulated Universe, and we're going to talk about why. So, the Simulated Universe is a roguelike feature of the game, and it's definitely endgame progression stuff. The main reason that you would want to push this in the 30s to like 40s is because it's the only place in the game where you can claim legendary relics, and they're pretty strong. The World 5 is a little bit unit dependent. I did not claim any on World 5. I don't have any units that work with these. One of them it gives effect hit rate and then attack based on your effect hit rate, and then the other one gives you crit damage, which sounds good, but the second effect it gives you 60% crit rate on the first attack they do after entering battle, which is just very like a strange passive. This one is very good on units like Welt or Sampo, someone who wants high attack percent but to deal damage, but also wants effect hit rate. I just don't have any characters like this, so it's just not really relevant to me. And then this one, I can't seem to find a character that would want this aside from the 5-star Hunt character on the standard banner, because his ult gives 60% crit rate, so you would want to build him with low crit rate. That's the only character I could see that would even want this set. The World 6, however, has much better 5 stars. It has a 2-piece set here that gives defense and then effect hit rate when you're or extra defense when your effect hit rate is above 50%. This is really great on Gepard and March 7th. Those two specifically. And then this one is just a really, really strong standard DPS set. It gives you 8% crit rate, and then when your crit rate's above 50%, your ultimate does 15% more damage. The follow-up part is just extra. Pretty much all of these only give you 2 things. This one's giving you 3, so if you put this on a character that doesn't have a follow-up attack, it doesn't really matter. It's just equivalent to all the other ones then. So think of it that way. Now, there are 2 blocks, in my opinion, that are pretty hard in progression. If you're lower level, you're trying to maybe ding 30, and you're stuck at the level XP where it's asking you to get to level 29 to unlock the next story mission. You'll have World 3 unlocked from Herda, and it's pretty tough. Gepard is a tough boss at this stage, and we'll cover how to potentially beat that. And then the next big wall, in my opinion, is Kafka. Svarlog is not that difficult. I'll still talk about him a little bit, but we'll get there. Now, I wanted to do one thing, which is, let's go to our index. So there are 7 paths. I recommend you do not go Elation or Abundance unless you have a healer. I will say that I don't recommend Abundance for runs, mainly because I just don't have experience with it, and because I don't have a healer on my team, and I just run March 7th as a shielder, and this doesn't really, the damage that you get from its legendaries, I haven't been able to deal lots of damage, but that may change with if you have a healer on your team to charge Dewdrop better. I have gone Abundance multiple times trying to test it without a healer, and it doesn't seem to work that well. So but Elation is also, it's all about follow-up attacks, and there's very few characters in this game that have follow-up attacks. So I just don't, and also its class ability, the ability you get to remember the special ability you get for going it is just not really that great compared to a lot of the other ones. So there's a couple key ones that you can pick from it, but that's about it. All right, some blessings that I think are extremely powerful that you should take almost every run depending on their characters. If you see this this preservation one being offered. This is a really, really strong survivability one. It just gives all your characters a shield. The shield is really small right away, but you can upgrade it, and it goes from 1% to 10%, which is pretty huge, and then the shield will continuously strengthen in value. It's just very, very strong. I think it gives a lot of survivability to teams. Super worth picking up no matter what path you're going if it shows up. What else? The only other legendary one that I think is really strong a lot of times is this, there's a remembrance one. This one, yeah. Well, whenever you break an enemy's weakness, there's a 100% chance to apply dissociation. Dissociation is a debuff that does 30% of the max health after a unit after the unit removes the debuff, like after the turn it takes. It's essentially like one of the most powerful dots in the game. So when you're fighting bosses, this just essentially says when you weakness break it, it just takes 30% of its max health as damage. It's really, really strong. You don't have to be in remembrance to take it. It's just a lot of free DPS. The other two that I'm going to recommend are actually blue. One of them, even though I said not to go Elation, if you're running March 7th, this one right here is really, really strong. After a character launches a follow-up attack, there's a 65% chance to recover 1 skill point. March 7th's counterattack is considered a follow-up attack. So when you upgrade this to it, so it becomes a 100% fixed chance, you get to spam March 7th shield every turn and generate 2 skill points by spending a skill point. So it's like a net 1 positive. It's really, really powerful. It lets you just spam skills on all your characters, generating more ultimate bar. Very, very powerful blessing if you're running March 7th on your team. Now, the other one's a destruction blessing. It's this one right here. If a character's HP is lower than 35% when being attacked or losing HP, restore their HP by 12% of their max HP, and then it upgrades to heal just a little bit more. This one is really, really powerful because there's a lot of blessings in all the different trees that give you some form of damage mitigation or some form of like getting yourself more survivability as you get lower, and you're gonna end up taking those a lot when you're offered choices that don't necessarily go with where you're going. So what do I mean by that? Let's say you pick to go the hunt and you get shown 3 blessings and none of them are the hunt. You're gonna pick ones that are just generically good, not ones that involve some synergy. Like, you're not gonna pick the remembrance one that says when a character's frozen, do this, because you're not gonna have a whole team based around like freezing things or all the blessings that freeze things for you. So you're gonna end up going with just generic good stuff, and a lot of the generic good ones are just survivability perks to help your team be like stay alive longer. So this one specifically, when it's stacked with other survivability ones, can basically make your team immortal. I've been in lots of runs where essentially my team just can't go lower than like 35% HP. I get hit and then it triggers all my survivability blessings, and then I just heal back up to 35% HP off of this blessing. And then the next time they're hit, it just is a rinse and repeat. So the only thing that can really kill you are boss like change phase mechanics, where they just deal like lots of damage because you fail to weakness break them in time, or you or they're just changing phases and they have a big damage dealing attack when they change phases. That can push through this still and may still wipe you, but generally it makes your run almost like unbeatable as long as you're not fighting uphill against like Kafka. It's not going to work against Kafka, but it's going to work in a lot of other places. All right, let's get into Gepard. Those are my blessing tips. So Gepard has his main mechanic is essentially the same as when you fight him in the story. He does his shield. He has a defense he does a shield that you have to break through. AoEs help with this. So and he's weak to physical. Let's see who he's actually weak to. Yeah, he's weak to physical, lightning, and imaginary. I bring the same team every time. Physical Trailblazer, March, Donhang, and Himiko. I guess Himiko helped against the shield a little bit because of her AoE, but that could just be replaced with Serval, and it'd be even better because Serval will actually deal lightning damage to him for his weakness. But Physical Trailblazer also can just blast cone him in the ads. and that's it. He has progressively stronger adds, so at the beginning he just kind of has the grunt soldiers, and then he gets the gunner ones that are a little bit tankier, and then he gets these knight guys. He gets the 2 of these guys in phase 3. I would recommend you go preservation or the hunt against Gepard. He has, if we look at him, he has a lot of resistances, one of which being frozen. So you can't really freeze lock him with remembrance that well. So I wouldn't recommend going remembrance against him just because of the freeze resistance. Hunt and preservation are probably the best. Destruction can also be very good, but I think it's a lot harder to pull off the correct blessings to make destruction work at this stage of the game if you're trying to break 30. Now again, he's only level 50, so if you're really, really struggling with him and you're getting frustrated, you can always just wait until you hit 30 and bring all your stuff up to 50, and then you'll be on even playing field with him, and it'll be a lot easier of a fight. But if you're trying to get the XP to hit 29 to unlock the next stage of story missions, you can still beat him. I did as well. It just requires the right blessings, and you may need to just upgrade, like fail a couple times to get yourself the extra ability tree stuff. Now, World 4 is Svarlog. I did not really have any issues with Svarlog. His main mechanic is the same as when you fight him in the story. He summons a hand that mind controls your people. Imprisons them. He doesn't mind control them. He like takes them and they can't take their action, and then he deals a lot of damage to them if you don't destroy the hand fast enough. The main difference here is that he summons more than one hand. He does it almost every time he has a turn. This isn't a huge deal. Svarlog's weak to physical and wind, so Donhang and Trailblazer are good here, and they Donhang specifically is like an all-star in this fight. He can just like destroy the shields and kill the hands very, very quickly, and it's very easy to do if you go the hunt. I recommend just going the hunt to get the speed buffs. It gives Donhang lots of turns to just kill the hands as soon as they come up, and that's really, once the hands are gone, if you can handle the hands successfully, Svarlog's not really an issue. He's not really a difficult boss. So I would recommend the hunt over everything else, and run Donhang if you're having trouble with the World 4. It's a very, very easy time. Now, Kafka is the big deal. Kafka is where you're fighting uphill. If we look at her, she's level 60. When you get to this point, you're at all your units are level 50. And so you're fighting uphill for all these fights. And she is resistant to lightning and frozen. So remembrance, don't really recommend remembrance at all. It's really hard to freeze her. Dissociation is still really strong against her though. Now, the big thing to know about Kafka is that when you fight her in phase 1, she has 2 adds. Unlike the other bosses who summon more adds when they get into more phases, she does not. What happens is she has another mechanic where she puts this, like, you'll see a spider icon in the turn order, and the spider icon will mind control somebody to attack. And when someone's mind controlled, they attack your own teammates with their basic attack, and you don't get to control their action. Whoever she's deciding to mind control, there will be an icon indicator above there. It's like a debuff, similar to targeting, and you'll see a little heart symbol above your character's picture on the bottom of the screen, like where you see your characters, similar to where the targeting icon is put on. You can debuff this with any form of, or cleanse this with any form of cleanse, remove debuff ability, so that this mind control doesn't do it. It took me a couple tries. The game does not really explain this to you, but it took me a couple tries to do this. So if you're running March 7th, you can just target people with March 7th. That's what I did. Worked really well. Otherwise, I recommend most paths have a way to cleanse debuffs. I would just make sure you're prioritizing those blessings to cleanse debuffs, because you really, really want to not be mind controlled by Kafka. It basically ruins your runs. It's the hardest part of her mechanic. Having your units mind controlled just completely wipes out DPS, wipes out your healing, makes it so that she ramps up faster. She does a decent amount of damage. You just end up losing because of the mind control. So cleansing the mind control is really what lets you get through this. and kill her. Now, the path recommendations, I had the most success with Nihility against her and the Hunt. Those are the two that I've been able to kill her with the easiest. Nihility doesn't need, you don't really need to have debuffs on your team to really trigger them. There's lots of in-blessing ways to apply debuffs, and there's also a healing, really, really strong, common blessing on Nihility that lets your dots heal you that I highly recommend you pick if you pick it. Aside from that, the Hunt just gives you the speed for March 7th to be able to cleanse more, or your whatever unit you're using to cleanse, like Natasha maybe. You're just getting more turns with that unit to cleanse the debuff, because as she ramps up, she'll start targeting more than one unit to mind control. So you have to like cleanse multiple units to not get mind controlled. So Hunt will also help a lot here. And yeah, that's it. Now the last thing I wanted to talk about is Herta's store. So I already bought the preservation one. I'll show it in a second. We can look at it right here. So the preservation one increases wearer's effect resistance, and if they get attacked and don't have a shield, they get 16% shield. This scales up, and if they have a shield, they take 12% reduced damage. The Hunt one is the wearer's crit rate by 8% and increases their crit rate against enemies with HP less than or equal to 50% by an extra 8%. And then when they defeat an enemy, they get a buff increase. And this is a destruction one. Whenever the wearer attacks, their attack is increased by 8% this battle, up to 4 times. When the wearer inflicts weakness break on the enemy, the wearer's damage increased by 12% for 2 turns. So these are these are farmable 5-star Lightcones. They're designed for the main character, I imagine, because Belobog gave us perseverance on the main character. I'm imagining the main character gets becomes the Hunt at the end of the third world. I don't know for sure about that. I'm just guessing. That seems thematic. So I imagine in future worlds we're gonna get other 5-star Lightcones to go to the main character. These are clearly designed for the main character, but you don't have to use them on them. I'm using this one on March 7th right now, and it's working fine. I plan to use this one probably on Arlen. I'm okay with that. So I would recommend, I think the Hunt, if you pulled Sealy or something, this one's pretty good. It's pretty good on Sealy. You may pick the Hunt one. It's pretty powerful, but I think the preservation one is specifically really powerful if you're running preservation units. Destruction is less so. I think the real pick here is between preservation and Hunt, and it really just depends on who you're running and who you need to be stronger. So like I really needed March 7th. I needed her shields to be good. I needed her to be tanky. She's kind of the glue that holds my team together. So I went with the preservation one just to make sure March 7th had the best stats possible. And then I haven't looked back. I'm very happy with that. Now the next one I go is probably gonna be the Hunt one, just because I'm running lots of Hunt characters. I need the Lightcone for them, and I plan to run even more Hunt characters as I'm building out my Forgotten Hall team. So I'll probably go the Hunt. I don't really run that many destruction characters, so I'm like the 4-star one that I have is fine for now. Lightcone I have for destruction is fine for now, but I will. So my order is preservation, Hunt. But if you're someone who has one of the 5-star Hunt characters, this is totally reasonable to go for. It's a lot of extra damage. It's very powerful, and you may just want to make that 5-star as powerful as possible. All right. And that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments if you're having any trouble in Simulated Universe, you want to ask me any questions. I'll get back to you. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.